We are human. And many times, we don't understand what that means to be human. We almost see being human as something negative. When we say, to err is human, to forgive is divine. We see human as something that is weak. We need to understand who we are. But truly, who are you? You have the capacity to be fulfilled. You have the capacity to be in peace. You have the capacity to feel. You have the capacity to express. You have the capacity to smile. You have the capacity to understand. The platform of humanity is understanding I am like you, you are like me. That we share the same world, we share the same time. And we bring to the table for each one of us our strengths, our joys, and a roadmap, if we can. I'm here, and this is how I got here. That peace is very possible. Peace is possible. But you know how peace is going to happen? Because it's not going to be world peace. You need to make peace with the world. Not world needs to make peace with you, but you need to make peace with the world by making peace with yourself. Well, hello everyone. I hope you're all well. So I was this morning, sitting there, going over some of the questions, getting ready for the weekend to answer some of the questions. And then looking at the questions, I studied them, looked at them, and then I just started browsing through the rough draft of the book. And interestingly enough, I came across a chapter that answered most of those questions. So I thought I'd read at least part of that chapter to you. This is from the English version, of course, of my book. We have so far released the Spanish version, and then coronavirus happened. So the title of this chapter is The Noise Between Our Years. Our time is so very precious. Who knows how much we have? Each day we receive this gift of life, and our greatest responsibility to ourselves is to ensure we spend each hour, each minute, each second as best we can. If we are to make the most of our time, we must take care with our attention, giving it only to what we truly need to do and what most fulfills us. Everything else is noise. This desire to be fulfilled and live in peace transcends culture, language, where you live, and what you do. There are incredible opportunities to be enjoyed in our world. But if we were only engaged with what's going on out there and lose touch with what's happening within us, we can begin to feel unbalanced. Our head fills with noise while our heart feels empty. We start to spend all of our time in the restless world of thoughts, ideas, expectations, projections. I hope you're liking this. It's good. It's good. Anxieties, criticism, fantasy. And then one day we turn inside and ask ourselves, is that all there is? Distractions are by no means just a modern issue. Many civilizations have wrestled with the subject we are considering here. For example, there was a memorable time in the Bhagavad Gita, part of the ancient Hindu epic, the Mahabharata, which says, when the mind becomes bound to a passion of the wandering senses, this passion carries away man's wisdom, even as the wind drives a vessel on the waves. Yes, humans have been thinking about all this for thousands of years. So, nothing new, guys, nothing new. Of course, something is only a distraction if we allow it to take us away from what matters. Do you give your attention to the most important things in your life or whatever seems to be the loudest? Are your days full of heartfelt joy or a head load of problems? Do the passing demands of your life carry you away from your wisdom? These are questions. When we are connected with the peace inside us, our experience of life is deeply enriched by clarity, a clear sense of what really matters. Each day we start from a place of calm, then go out into the external world focused on what we most want to do, achieve, and feel. The challenge for many people is that they grew up surrounded by distractions, but were never shown how to connect with that deep sense of peace within. When that happens, we feel there is something missing inside us, but we don't quite know what it is or where to find it. What we do in that situations, often we throw ourselves into that busy external world in search of what we need, as if out there is a marketplace that must somewhere have a stall offering what's inside us. But that's looking in the wrong place. Peace, fulfillment, and many other wonders really are available for us to find and treasure. But we need to make sure we're looking in the right place. In this book, I'll show you what experiencing peace is like and share ways you can connect with the incredible resources you have inside. Here, I start by looking at how we get distracted from the real us, how the wind drives us away from what we most want and need. Then I set out the journey we must take if we are to leave behind the noise and sail into peace. So I hope you like it so far. The busyness of life. You wake up from sleep, slowly open your eyes, yawn, and stretch. Immediately they jump on you, and all those thoughts about the day ahead, and all those goals you have to achieve, and plans you must pursue. All those expectations and opinions from family, friends, and colleagues. All those problems at home, problems at work, all those concerns about things that happened yesterday or might happen tomorrow. The past and the future are coming together in a cacophony of noise. It is as if many distractions in your world were sitting patiently at the end of the bed, waiting for you to emerge from rest, and now they have leapt into your life. Your life. In fact, sometimes the distractions are so impatient, they just come and wake you up way too early in the day. Time to get up, they cry. We need to be fed. I hear this chorus of complaint from my friends. There are so many demands on my time. I don't get a minute to myself. It never stops. People sometimes speak like they have become servants to the busyness of life. All too easily, we can get distractions, set the pace of our schedule, and then time seems to melt into air. We can miss the blessing of life in whose precious waking hours, the clarity, contentment, and joy that are there for us to savor. Wonders and challenges. Technology was going to help us solve the problem of busyness. We were told it would take away the boring and time-consuming tasks and leave us free to do more of what we love. Well, it hasn't quite worked out that way. Don't get me wrong, I like technology. I really like technology. It can be incredibly exciting, connecting, and liberating. Inventions and innovations have done amazing things for humankind in my lifetime and for me. Technological progress has helped raise levels of prosperity, health, and comfort for many millions of us. It has enabled us to travel further, faster, and more safely than ever before. It has allowed us to stay in touch with loved ones who live many miles away. It has brought incredible services, information, and entertainment into our homes. And I hope there's more to come, particularly for the poorest people on our planet. My own experience of technological change started when my parents bought a refrigerator. Back then, India was really lagging behind on technical progress. So when this very expensive object arrived in our household, we were all a bit in awe. It was housed in a room separate from the kitchen, and we didn't really know what to put in it. For a while, it just held jugs of cold water. Then someone said, "Come on, you can store all your vegetables and fruit," and they showed us what it could do. Then the telephone arrived. Rather than punching in a number, we used to lift the receiver and the operator would be there waiting to connect us. If it was a local call, we would just give the name and they would put us through. One of our first uses of it was finding out whether the man with the first and only television set in town was going to turn it on that evening. What an incredible journey from there to watching the latest movie on your device. We should appreciate the benefits of technology and embrace technological innovation. But along with the wonders come challenges. We must take care to ensure technology always works for our benefit. When it feels like technology is starting to run me, I don't like it. I want to keep control and make the decisions that affect me. I want to be the one who turns the technology off and on. It will pass. I sometimes find the emotional connection people form with their devices rather surprising. I was in Cambodia a few years back and talking to some great students. This young woman stood up and she looked pretty upset. "I watched your videos and you said that we should not live with the past. We should live with the present." Well, immediately I started to imagine that she must have gone through some traumatic, perhaps the death of her parents, and I was really feeling pretty happy that she was opening up about this to me. And then she said, "So yesterday, I lost my phone. And I still feel regret and I feel sorry. What can I do to make myself be happy again?" I hadn't expected something so lacking in tragedy. Yet she seemed genuinely sad. I replied to her like this: Were you born with a phone? No. You cannot judge the moments of your life by a phone. To live, do you need a phone? Do you know how long civilization existed before there was a phone? For thousands and thousands of years, people didn't have phones. So, were they all sad? No. Things will come and go. Your joy cannot be attached to those things. Should you be concerned? Yes. Should you be sad? No. When the wind blows really hard, the trees that don't know how to bend break. But the trees that know how to sway with the wind, they stay. It's just a storm. It'll pass. But you have to be above it. You will be okay. That's very poignant. This is not in the book. This is very poignant for this time. When the wind blows really hard, the trees that don't know how to bend break. But the trees that know how to sway with the wind, they stay. It's just a storm. It'll pass. But you have to be above it. You'll be okay. And then I got my assistant to buy her a new phone. Always on. Here's my perspective on all this. I can see that technological progress is positively transforming the world around us, and I'm delighted about that. But when it comes to the world inside us, my feelings are a little more complicated. Technological, especially communications, can be an amplifier of the noise in our lives, a multiplier of the distractions that take our attention. Many people report that they feel bombarded by emails, texts, notifications, posts, and so on. But we also worry about the messages we haven't received yet and the people who don't follow us yet. Humans can adapt very quickly to new situations, but it feels as if some of us are being carried along by the tide of innovation rather than navigating our own way forward. So, uncontrolled. It's just going, and you're just going with it. You don't know where it's going to go. You have no idea. You're not in control. And all those people who think that, they are in control of their lives because all this technology has actually brought them control, in reality, you are going for a ride and you're not in control. The technology is in control of you. Anyway, something to think about. We are told it's an always-on world. If we are not careful, we start to check our messages time and time again, as if the secret to a happy life will be delivered to us inside that little device. Perhaps we need to press pause more often and reflect on the impact that this is having. Then there is social media, which is a terrific way to connect and interact, but at times can make even the most likable people pretty antisocial. I saw that the city of Xi'an in China has introduced special slow-moving pathways that allow people to safely stare at their device as they walk. One challenge is that social media presents an ever-flowing river of new material. This can be exciting and rewarding, but sometimes it is hard to put your device away. Instead of being refreshed by what's new, we can end up always wanting what's next. We become anxious. We might miss something important. There's an acronym for this: FOMO, F-O-M-O, fear of missing out. That's a word you're going to have to remember, FOMO, fear of missing out, because that comes quite a few times. Now we see a new wave of technology coming into our lives too. Innovation that might do great things for us, but with uses and consequences we need to consider carefully. Artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, disruptive technology. There are a lot of exciting possibilities ahead, but we must ensure that technology helps us make our day-to-day life better. And we should always remember there is an incredible reality deep within us that is full of stunning beauty. Our sense of overload is about more than technology, of course. Some of the expectations other people place on us can add to the pressure we feel. And then there is our own expectations, the unmet desires and drives, those persistent wants that we can never quite shake off. Ambition is good, but not when it stops you experiencing the full richness of life you have today. Some of us are so busy trying to be successful, we don't get time to enjoy who we really are. And some of us are so busy trying to get somewhere, we don't see where we are right now. It can be an always-on world in our minds, too. Some delight is missing. Each generation tries to find ways to respond to feeling scattered, that insatiable desire for something else. The grass has always been greener on the other side for those who aren't content. The Roman philosopher Seneca seemed to understand FOMO. In his essay on the shortness of life, he wrote, "Men travel far and wide, wandering along foreign shores and making trial by land and sea of their restlessness, which always hates what is around it. Let's now go to Campania, they say. And then when they get bored with luxury, let's visit uncultivated areas. Let's explore the woodlands of Brutium and Luciana. And yet amid the winds, some delight is missing. They make one journey after another and change spectacle for spectacle. As Lucretius says, thus each man ever flees himself. But to what end if he does not escape himself?" And yet, amid the wilds of modern life, some delight is missing. The outside world presents wonderful opportunities to connect with people and experience new things. Communications technology hugely extends all this, and that's great. But in my view, what are we really looking for, truly looking for, is inside of us. We can become so mesmerized by what's going on out there, we lose track of what's in our hearts. I want to know this of a person. What does the social media inside you feel like? How do you feel? How do you like you? How do you follow you? How do you know how to be your own friend? If you can't be a friend to yourself, can you really be a friend to anyone else? Sometimes we need to put down our device and sit with the person who is ultimately our number one fan. The other day, a friend and I were chatting, and he picked up his phone and said, "I wonder what's trending right now." I can tell you what's trending. We are, all of us. The day we were born, we started to trend, and we were going to keep on trending until that one day when we don't trend anymore. And then nothing of this world will matter to us. On that day, our device can ping and ding and buzz and beep all at once. We won't be listening. And now for some good news. So, you want to reduce the distractions in your life and find contentment? Find that sweet feeling of being happy and complete in that moment? Turn down the volume on the noise and hear yourself. This is all perfectly possible. First, we need to recognize that the noise in the outside world is actually irrelevant. It's the noise between your ears you have to deal with. Maybe one day you've had enough of all those hullabaloo coming from your device and you turn it off, put it away in a cupboard, and walk to a different room. But the noise hasn't gone away. The emails, the messages, ads, news flashes, they haven't stopped talking to you. The outside has got the inside. You can reach for the earplugs or headphones, but they're not going to work because the noise is between your ears. Who's in charge at this point? Well, it doesn't appear to be you. And that expensive device you put in your drawer isn't going to help you find your peace. Only you can do that. It's the same with the social pressures. putting some space between you and other people might help, but you need to remove them from your mind too. It should only be your voice you hear in your head. People try all sorts of things to escape the noise. They go under the blankets and put pillows over their ears, but they go up to 30,000 feet and deep down beneath the waves. They climb mountains, they walk in forests, they run, they go on a pilgrimage and visit silent retreats in remote corners. They go to the temple or church or mosque or shopping mall or a bar or a dealer, but the noise is still there. It's stuck between their ears. So there is nowhere else it can live. Thus, each man and woman ever flees themselves. But to what end? If they do not escape themselves, unless you find peace, the noise will always travel with you. Now for the good news. You can get back and stay in control. The noise isn't just happening to you, you're allowing it to happen to you. You can choose when to switch off your device. You can choose how to manage your mental inbox. You can choose to listen to you, care about, and respond to. You walk towards peace when you choose. You choose to turn your attention away from the outside world and begin to look within. So these are the important things. Just a moment of positive choosing can be the start of life-changing journey through self-knowledge to inner calm, focus, contentment, and peace. Once we fully connect with ourselves, the noise stops being an intruder and starts to be our friend. Just a particularly busy, loud, lively friend we only see when it suits us. I hope you like it. I mentioned that people try to escape the noise at 30,000 feet. Let me take you up there for a moment. Being a pilot has enabled me to travel and share my message with people all over the world. I have been inside plenty of cockpits and flown different types of aircraft. There are a lot of automation now, and computers make many of the decisions. In fact, as the technology increased, pilots started to take care of the automation instead of taking care of the airplane. But you have to fly the airplane, not the computer, especially in an emergency. When I was training, my instructors would say to me, if there is a problem with technology, just turn it all off and do what you have always done, fly the airplane. And that's what we need to do when the noise gets too much. Turn off the other stuff and fly the plane. So I'm just going to go this far. There's still quite a bit left on this chapter. But I hope that, just what I read to you clarifies one thing, that you have to be in control. So other exciting stuff that's happening is I'm working on the training. Believe me, I'm still working on the training, and I hope that in the next few days I'll be able to tell you when it's going to start. I just want to put one small idea in your head, that if you do want to participate, because it'll be coming out, it'll be free for all. It'll be on the same ways you've been listening to me. And if you want to participate in it, one of the things you're going to require as we go into the training is to be able to send me a response, so we can try to make it as interactive as possible. It won't be very interactive. It'll be pretty slow. But the idea, what I'm thinking about, is that I'll present you the presentation one day of whatever the topic is. Then the second day, you would have sent me your response and your learnings from that. Then I can see and I can share with everybody what the comments are. And then we move on to the next topic. And so hopefully by doing that, we can keep it semi-interactive and keep it moving and keep it interesting. Well, that's all I have to say for today. Take care of yourself. Be safe. Be well. Be